I'm not going to give you a fancy, um, super high definition and slideshow today. I'm just going to be straight with you. Uh, we have a big problem in the Western Church, and that is we have an awful lot of tribalism, and it's affecting our culture. It's killing the church. And tribalism is basically the influence and the positive reinforcements that you have around you affect your thinking and cause you to have a herd mentality within your group to defend your position no matter how wrong it is, no matter what the actual evidence is, to believe whatever your own internal sources are saying, your own society is saying, your own internal community. And what happens though, I mean, learning things from a tribe and having tribalism that way is good, but the problem is the polarization. And the problem is the polarization is a power play. It's all about power, really. Your evangelical leaders did not get private jets pandering to painters. What happens is donors, political donors, come into the church, and they're not really there to be Christians. They're there to get what they want, and what they want is they want the blessing and the constituency. They want your constituency. And the worst thing, and I would say this to any group, right or left, is to ever be a constituency, because it's very hard to get what you actually are really trying to get and things that actually will benefit you from them, because it's best when you're a constituency for the politicians to be dragging you as long along the road as long as they possibly can, and which means they will hold out bait, and it isn't as consequential to what you want as you think it is when you're a constituency. But the deeper problem is that when, let's say, Franklin Graham goes out and he hugs a politician and tells them that they're a great person, and tells everybody that they need to support them, and gives them public support, half of the society will no longer listen to that person preach ever again, or will even hear anything they have to say. And what happens is that if you look at historically in countries that have developed a religious-based government, you look at Germany, the German city-states, both Protestant and Catholic. You look at you go into France, Holland, Geneva, parts of Eastern Europe, and even England to a certain extent. It has disastrous consequences to society. It becomes very much like a real-life Handmaid's Tale, because it's about power and control, and using the force of the church as a means of controlling people's thoughts, behaviors, and finances, and every aspect of life. And it's not for God; it's for man. It's for the man in charge, and that's why we love things in the West a whole lot more than Jesus. And some people think that thinking the United States is the only place in the world is a mistake. No, it's not a mistake. The reason Christians think that is because we're very self-serving and we want us to be the only thing on earth. And that includes people in our own society. Anything that would inconvenience us to a certain extent, and this is very true with pretty much everybody, is an end of game for consideration of others. We are all the things that Jesus warned about, and we're not supposed to have this type of anger and spite. We're not supposed to hate our neighbors. We're not supposed to hate anybody in society. We're supposed to build bridges, not walls. And all we have done is put up walls and attacked everybody else that we don't like. And then we justify it with all kinds of nonsense. And I think it's a problem on both sides, really, but we're not helping the situation, and everything we're doing is counterproductive, and we just don't care about anybody but ourselves. And that's basically the gist of it. And this whole thing about the U.S. being a Christian nation is totally nonsense. Ever look up the Jefferson Bible and what is in it and get back to me, or look up a lot of the other things about our history. When they used God back then, most people really meant something very different, and a lot of it had to do with the influence of France and the different philosophies that were going on in France. Because people that were in rebellion against England, France was kind of like the to-go-to place for your society, and And that's kind of where we're at. What we need to do is just start loving people. And that's really what changes the world, is loving people. But I don't think we're capable of doing that. I don't think we're capable of loving anybody who we don't agree with. As a society, I think most people anyway. I think that there's nothing. I think the biggest amount of fakes ever in the world are in evangelicalism today, because it's all about you. It's all about us, and it's always about us versus them. It's about us versus the gay people, us versus this group of minorities, us versus them. You know, it's that way all over. There's never about we love you. That's never anywhere. Everything that we spend money on as a church is all about being against somebody else. So that's pretty much all I can really say at this point.